to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirusha here. Now, when I last left off, Ibarra had just murdered that cyber demon. And because of that, Deku did not get its strength, so I will not be counting it toward Deku. Although, the amount of imps and things he did kill during this raid basically put him close to that thing's strength. So, let's begin. Everyone else is running back to base, and people are actually watching, as everyone will get tired and eventually they would have to settle down for a minute. They would hide in an old abandoned building, and or actually just resting for a second, if not for at least an hour or so. People are asking why they essentially need all this stuff, and Deku would just say that it's data. Kaminari asks what he means and why it's so important, and Deku would go over his whole explanation. He just explains that whenever he gets back to base, he can explain it better, but he just needs to show them something real quick. As he pulls out a little hard drive and actually asks May if she can plug it into that little computer she has. She would plug it in and actually show them a video. This video basically talks about how they made a mistake and they should not have opened it. They should have tried better and they should have tried coming up with an alternative fuel source. But just finding this and trying to rely on it so much, essentially it was a bad idea. It doomed them all. As the video would immediately blur out and a gunshot can be heard ringing out. Kaminari would ask what that even was and what that even means. Deku would just say that the man shot himself. In fact, he found him and it was not a very pretty sight. The video rolls on for another hour, but it's just demons invading the lab. And one of them actually smashing the computer at the end. Which kinda disturbs Kaminari. As Deku would say that this scientist, from what he knows and has gathered, basically is talking about their Earth. Everyone's kind of confused, and Ibarra would actually ask what he means. Well, not Ibarra, but let's say May, because she did not know. Deku would look over to May as sternly as he can, saying that essentially the multiverse does exist. This place, it's hell yes, but also no. He thinks that basically everyone here is out to kill everything. Everyone's here to doom everything. This entire place is a dimension that was probably quarantined. That the humans associate with hell so many times that it is actually hell. People here come here and have no hope. People here essentially are exactly living what they think it is. Essentially, this might be where everyone comes when they die. Not just that, but tunneling straight into it is a bad idea. As he says this, he gets back up and says that it's time for them to go. As he says this, he looks very sternly and... Okay, I thought I had a nosebleed for a second. He looks very sternly and he says that they need to move now. As he says this, everyone immediately looks at him and he begins running again. As soon as he takes off, he is actually at a bit of a faster pace, which causes everyone to immediately start running with him. Everyone's having a little bit of a harder time, but Deku's only running harder because of how much weight he's carrying. He's carrying a majority of the computers. They would eventually make it back to base after a couple days. Now, during this time, Deku has basically been a bit on edge, and he is actually looking out for a lot of different things, as he's been taking them in loops in different directions, basically confusing everyone. They would eventually get back to base, and Deku would tell them that that's good that they lost whoever was following them, confusing everyone, asking what he means. Deku would explain that ever since he had that conversation a couple, weeks ago, they were followed, so he did his best to try and lose them. It seems like that worked. After leading them through the Gorness territory, it kind of lost interest, whatever it was. Now, to explain better, as he would immediately walk back over to the computers where the hack is being commenced, he would push that off to the side, calling it a side priority, as he would type in a few words and actually a password. As soon as he unlocks it, you just see a video of Earth, covered in scorched and fire, and you just hear screams ringing out. And Deku would say that this is essentially some of the data that was sent back from what appears to be a surveillance drone. Basically, this thing can send messages between the dimension by coming through and immediately just downloading the data from a wireless network and going back through once again. Essentially, it can do this, but this is the latest information he's found. This Earth has fallen, as you can call it, as you would immediately just see the computer start shaking as thousands of ancient ones would just start passing by on screen, along with a lot of cyber demons. An imp would actually fly directly onto the camera, grabbing the drone and actually flying it around, showing all the carnage as it would be ripped apart and the surveillance would cut. Deku would say this is what he's preparing them for, if not what he's trying to stop from happening to their home. So, it's the best chance we've got, as they see Deku actually look sad at this. He would just go on explaining that their Earth was given a chance. Their Earth has the power of a quirk. It essentially gave them the ability to fight back against these things. They can't predict every single human on Earth having a power, so he has a plan. Essentially, we are going to be forming a team. I'm not exactly sure what we can call ourselves, but let us continue. As he immediately sits down on the computers and begins plugging them in, actually putting the hack back on top priority, along with letting May do her thing on the computers for a while. He begins training everyone a bit more intensely, along with May, actually doing a lot more workouts. She would occasionally, on the hour, do some hacking, and sometimes, whenever she starts getting a bit bored or a little bit tired, she actually runs around a bit and actually does push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. Basically, actually strength training herself. Now, she would also train with her weapon. Now, the way I did it, the 5 months being 100 years, cutting down each month into 20 years, and then cutting that time in half for 2 weeks. 2 weeks would be 10 years in hell. I am going to be trimming off a bit of time so that I don't just create 10 or so episodes of just everyone in hell. Because that is a lot more, cheesy. So I'm going to cut off about, let's see. Doing this training every day, let us say that everyone is about 5, not 5, but let's say a year has passed. They've been training and doing all this, and everyone's actually somewhat stir-crazy. Bakugo is actually just at 100, I want to say 100%, if not around 90. Momo and everyone else is kind of just, they're a lot stronger, and Momo is actually someone able to speak the language, and Deku would call a team meeting, asking everyone how they feel. Everyone would say that they feel fine, it's just not being able to eat, sleep, or do anything like normal is a bit maddening. Deku would say he understands that. It's just the portal hasn't opened yet, so they need to either wait or he might be able to call it. Everyone immediately looks up at Deku, asking if he can just call it and actually try. Deku would actually do so as he presses a button on his wrist, and the thing immediately begins beeping super loud. Deku immediately sees the coordinates 16.75 miles away. As he tells everyone to pack up, May would actually be asking Deku if they can pack up all their gear, and Deku would immediately just start basically pulling out wires as much as he can and actually picking up all the systems, turning it back into a giant backpack, along with Bakugo and Ibara, along with Momo and May. They have all the systems connected, and May actually has a lot of the USBs and hard drives they have, along with Deku, who is actually telling Bakugo that he needs to grab as much metal as possible. At this point, Momo and May, they've been talking and they were able to at least unlock a lot more things. Deku, he now has the ability to use the gauntlets. If not, he has found the blueprints for the Doomslayer gauntlets, along with the arm pieces and actually the blueprints to the helmet. But the helmet was considered a prototype, so it was considered scrapped, if not unusable. Now, everyone immediately begins heading back, and Deku, he would just leave one computer with all the information they have, and he would actually leave it on, saying that time here passes differently, so if they ever return, this should all be done. May thinks that that's kind of stupid, but she sees his point, as they would leave and immediately start running. Deku would just transform, he would create his giant wings, and actually take on characteristics of the other demons, making himself as large as possible, actually picking up everyone he can, and Ochako would use her quirk to make everyone lighter. Deku would immediately just do this as everyone's basically holding on to each other, and Ibara would just wrap vines around everyone, basically having them be held by Deku as he's flying. They're doing this, and all the demons in hell would see Deku just flying, thinking that he has humans. They would immediately begin chasing Deku down as they are going to the portal. Now, as this is happening, Momo actually creates an RPG and begins firing on the demons, along with Jiro and Bakugo actually using different types of things. Jiro will be blasting concentrated things of sound out of her hands, and Bakugo is actually firing off AP shots. Now, while this is happening, I almost bit my tongue. Deku's just flying faster and faster as he sees a timer begin on his watch. They have 5, if not 7 minutes to get there. Deku immediately sees this and tells everyone that they need to hold on to him as much as possible. So Ibara would immediately just begin rooting as much vines around Deku as possible along with everyone else, almost encasing them in a fungus, basically. As Deku immediately begins flying faster, everyone is basically holding on and screaming as Deku would make it in time, and he would come flying through the portal with everyone, telling his dad to shut the portal. As soon as this happens, Deku would immediately see as a demon comes reaching out, and as soon as the demon reaches out, the portal would close, chopping off its hand. As soon as that happens, Deku's somewhat sitting there and he starts laughing, as everyone else does too. Deku's dad's kind of concerned because they basically were gone for, let's see. 2 weeks equals 10 years. 1 year would... Hang on. I want to say they'd be gone for at least a day and a half. I think that's 10%. Now, everyone's kind of confused, saying that they were gone for a year, not a day and a half. Now, this is actually a little over a day and a half, because that 2 months and then the year time skip. As Deku just says, okay, first, he knows what they all need. Water. Everyone immediately just looks at Deku, and they all just say, fuck yes, in unison. As they would walk into the next room, actually basically drinking from a water cooler, almost chugging the entire thing. Now, while that's happening, basically everyone goes home, and they all see their respective families, and they would actually somewhat just chill out for the next 2 weeks. With Deku basically making trips back and forth to get the rest of the metal, and Bakugo actually somewhat accompanying him. Bakugo just says that this is kind of stupid, but Deku's dad would find a way to actually calibrate the portal to be closer. They would basically be making these trips as fast as possible, back and forth, which is weird because Deku's dad basically just sees them go into the portal and come immediately straight out. Now, while this is going on, everyone else is respectively just training, and this is whenever Kaminari would actually somewhat try asking Deku a question. How has he not gone mad throughout his entire time there? Deku would just say he just thinks about things back home. If not, just tries to stay busy. What is it? He just thinks about different types of things. In fact, he thinks about an old story in his head that he basically memorized at this point. He just started reciting things that he just remembers from it, and eventually he remembered the entire book. Kaminari would understand this, and actually somewhat go to reading, surprisingly. Along with Momo and Mei actually somewhat forming a better friendship, where Mei essentially shows Momo more complex things she can try creating with her quirk, and Momo would create them, basically helping Mei with understanding different moving gears and other things, along with training each other with bow staffs. Now, the final part of the 2-week period would arrive, and everyone arrives at the beach, talking to each other and actually saying that after the whole time they spent, let's all have a big party together to celebrate. Everyone's actually really happy about this, and Ida, he actually's been warming up to everyone, because he's basically known them longer than anyone else in UA at this point. So he's less reserved and less Ida to everyone else. Now, they would do this party, and they actually do it at UA. Actually getting permission to use the swimming pool. This would basically happen, and everyone would arrive, along with inviting everyone outside of this entire group. Monomo would have heard about this, and he would have actually came to see everyone, and he's actually quite surprised, because he expected everyone just to be the same. That actually felt weird. It just popped my entire leg. Mono would see that Bakugo is actually a lot more muscular. Kaminari actually looks a bit less Kaminari, because he basically has a lot of his hair chopped off and actually put back. Basically slicks backwards, along with Momo and Mei actually talking to each other, and Momo creating different things with her quirk. Actually somewhat laughing and being happy about this. Along with Jiro, who's actually been mastering her hovering in the time since she first discovered it. He would see this and he'd immediately run up to Deku asking him what the hell has happened and what is going on, because they were not like this 2 days ago, if not 2 weeks ago. Ito would immediately run over, saying Kaminari and everyone else is perfectly fine, actually. But thanks for asking. Anyways, dude, don't worry about it. In fact, everyone's perfectly fine. We were just gone for a year. This would actually make Momo confused as he says, wait, why are you... You are not like this. What has happened? Wait, you said a year? It's been 2 weeks. Dude, I offered you to go, man, but you didn't want to go. We were in hell. Wait, so it actually does exist? You're kidding me, right? No, do you want to see some information about it? As he would immediately ask Momo if she can create a computer or something, and May would say no need. She actually still has some of the information, if not the laptop. She gets bored with it, so she tries carrying it around, since it's basically a piece of technology that she's very interested in. In fact, she's still trying to unlock some secrets about it, as she would show Kaminari a lot of video files and proof that everything that Deku's talking about is real, confusing him and actually concerning him, along with everyone in Class 1A seeing this and actually being surprised, actually asking Deku more questions about it. Bakugo would say you should have seen it. One thing that almost happened was Deku almost got chopped in half with a battle axe. People not believing him would just say that that's not right, is it? Deku would say you should have seen Bakugo. Every time we actually sparred, I would just bitch slap him. Actually somewhat pissing off Bakugo, as he would just say if they face off now, he could beat him. Deku would just say that they'll just have to see in the finals. Todoroki would just walk up saying that, you know, he didn't go because he thought hell would be hotter, but actually, describe the heat to me. Oh no, dude, that place was insane. You should have seen it. Not just that, just being there, like, I'm pretty sure that if I were to be in a sauna, it would be nothing compared to that place. Breathing there is like feeling... Imagine being in the middle of a forest fire, dude. That's basically how it felt. Oh yeah, no, I would say that's pretty right, Ida. So you're telling me you guys are basically in the harshest environment in the world for over a year, fighting, not able to sleep, not able to eat or do anything, survived and came back. Yeah. Okay, I call bullshit. Well, we'll just have to take you next time. I highly doubt that. My ice half might not even help me survive. Well, dude, might be best just to use it when you're there. Well, I doubt that. Anyways, I will beat you in the sports festival no matter what. Dude, Bakugo has better control over his quirk. Everyone here has better control over their quirk. And I'm a lot stronger now. You are basic cannon fodder to everyone here. I'm pretty sure even May can beat you. Oh yeah, no, I probably can. Alright, well, that's not gonna pass. Alright. This is whenever everyone that went to hell would actually just start laughing and actually just chill out a bit more. People are asking questions and people are doing all that, as in the next video I will be covering the sports festival, but that may be a minute because I needed to go outside and do some yard work. Yes, I do yard work a lot. Now, I will be leaving this part off here, and yeah, I basically did that time skip because the math in my head would give them too much time, and it makes sense that everyone would not be able to stand being there for too long. So after a year or so, they might get a little stir crazy. After 2, they might get a bit more, and eventually they would probably drive themselves insane. Deku being incorruptible would just prove this, as he was not phased for being there for a year, let alone a century. So this just reinforces that to everyone else. Also, it makes sense that Deku would basically have the ability to call his dad saying, hey, we need to get out of here now in case of emergency, someone getting seriously injured or dying, or the fact that they've just had enough being there. It would make sense that that function would be embedded into the watch. Because you do not want to send your only kid back there, let alone his entire friends, just sitting there waiting for something bad to happen. So it makes sense to me. Now, I will be leaving this part off here, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video.